Like, did you hire him? Because some people don't get to hire.
Yeah, no, I did. I got to hire him. Yeah.
Is it a black guy, white guy?
Yeah, black guy.
You only starting to hire black folks now over on your side of town.
Yeah. Well, are we recording?
All right, here we go. We're back with another episode of Stealing from Friends. We bring on dope people who do dope stuff. And for today, a lot of times when you're in certain industries, especially like leadership, management, and all this stuff that you may not know about or think about, or you're just forced into that position, it's really tough to be able to go into some of these positions. But today we have a guy who has been, you guys may know a guy named Johnny Cash, hence the shirt, because he has been everywhere. Man, you see how I did that? I brought it back to Johnny Cash. Russell Westbrook, or anyway. All right, so thank you for being here today.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
No, okay. We're not going to be doing that all day.
Yeah, all right, Tom.
So before we get into it, what do you do? Where you from? Firstly, I already know you're an Alabama fan.
Absolutely. Roll Tide.
Okay, and make sure to cut that part out, Kenzo. But outside of that, what brought you into Arkansas, the connection to Alabama and all that good stuff? What bring you where you are now?
So born and raised in Alabama, came up in New Hope, Alabama. Joined the military when I was about 21. Didn't have a whole lot of other options at that point. I'd been working dead-end job like a lot of people and was kind of trying to figure things out. 9/11 had happened when I was in high school. All my friends ran off, joined the Marine Corps. I went to college for a little bit, went the college route, and like a lot of kids, ran out of money. Things didn't work out the way that you quite planned, so I was just working that dead-end job. They came back from their first deployments, and they were telling me all their stories, and I kind of had FOMO. I was kind of like, man, you guys...
Dang, I should have went to some of that.
I should have went. Yeah, I had so much regret because they had done so much in such a short amount of time, and I hadn't done anything, nothing substantive. I hadn't contributed anything to society other than working at a call center. Mm-hmm. And I felt like trash because I came up with these guys. We all had the same opportunities and they took advantage of a different opportunity. And at that point, I wanted to do something. I wanted to serve in some capacity. And the first branch that I reached out to was the National Guard. And I ended up joining very quickly afterwards. From there, I did meet some good people. And people, everybody has a different story with the military, and I always equate it to a lot of things in life. If it's an orange and you squeeze every drop out of it, then you're going to get a lot of orange juice. But if you only squeeze a little bit, you're only going to get a little bit. And with the military, when I joined, I tried to take advantage of everything it had to offer, and that included the individuals around me. And I had some really good mentors. And from that mentorship, I had opportunities to acquire part-time jobs and full-time jobs with them. And I eventually became a recruiter. Long story short, I worked my butt off.
You did.
And provided some value to some people that afforded me an opportunity. From there, became a recruiter in Alabama. Came to recruiting school in Arkansas. Didn't know anything about Arkansas. A lot of people in Arkansas, they're like, oh, Alabama football, this and that and that. Mm-hmm. People in Alabama don't think about Arkansas. I just hate to hurt your feelings. It's a fact. I didn't know anything about, I didn't even know what a Razorback was.
All right.
So never heard, what is it? What's the call?
Woo pig.
Yeah, never heard it. So anyways, end up coming to Arkansas, come to recruiting school. Strangely enough, my first weekend out in recruiting school, we go out to Hooters in North Little Rock, mm-hmm. and I go out there with some guys from California. One guy's a huge guy, like 6'5" guy.
Samoan.
He's a white guy,
okay.
But huge, muscular guy, and a Hispanic guy from California. And I'm wearing my Alabama swag. I'm not thinking anything about it because it's like,
I don't think anything
about it.
You're just going out to eat.
Well, this was the year Alabama beat Arkansas 52-0, and they beat them 52-0 that night.
Okay.
And people in Hooters were pissed. And so long story short, I had people trying to fight me for no reason. Mm-hmm. I was like, what is going on? And those guys were there, luckily, and they saved my butt. That's the only reason I bring that up. But that the next day we go out and we go to the movies, and that's where I met my wife. And that's how I ended up in Arkansas.
Here in Arkansas?
Well,
in recruiting school.
In recruiting school. So
dang,
the rest
that's
is
dope.
history. She moved to Alabama for a while. We ended up back here, and I've been here ever since. And so that's my origin story of how I got here.
Heard that. How good do you have to risk for her to be like, I'll come to Alabama?
Strangely enough, I left this part of the story out. I tried to holler at her earlier in the day at the movies where we were seeing the movie Takers. And I ended up running into her at the movies. And she was like, she wasn't having it.
Yeah.
So later on that night, when we were out at the club, we were out at disco.
Mm-hmm. But It was a disco night?
Disco.
Oh, so this is 73. Okay.
Yeah, disco. No, this is the club disco. We were seeing a drag show.
Okay.
And she was there. Same girl was there. So it was actually really crazy. Right
He was like,
I was like, you're the one from earlier that shot me down. I'm gonna get you now. I got you. And so I was pretty persistent. And she eventually gave me her number. Went out on a date, and I guess throughout the recruiting school was 4 or 5 weeks I was there because that was the first weekend.
that was perfect timing.
Yeah, perfect timing. It was her birthday weekend, my birthday weekend. I guess I did enough, made enough of an impression. Traveled back and forth to Arkansas for a year. Every weekend, except for drill weekends, and
every weekend,
yeah. So it was I put the work in. So.
Yeah, the work, the mileage, the sweat equity.
Yeah, the sweat equity. Yeah.
How far is that a drive from Alabama?
347 miles.
Okay, to the T. And here's another thing: a lot of people don't. A lot of people be sleeping on. Driving just to be like, oh yeah, we're gonna hang out for 2 days.
Yeah,
he's like, I still gotta go to school tomorrow. I still gotta go to work the next day.
Oh yeah, those Sunday drives back were rough, but like anything in life, if you want something, you're gonna have to put the work in. So I wanted it, put the work in. It was worth it. So married now for
shebang.
Going on 13 years. So it was worth it.
Dang. So you met her at 21. When y'all? How long y'all? You said 13 years.
Yeah.
I don't want to do the math part of it.
Yeah.
I just don't want to do the math for sake of the time. All right. So. Getting into it, or backing up a little bit. So you're all the way in Alabama. Ain't nothing hot in Alabama from what I think of. You said you went, what was the name of your city? New Hope? New Zion?
Yeah,
New Hope?
New Hope.
So what was it like in New Hope for you to have any bit of dedication or inflection? What is the word that makes you want to go and do something? I guess I'll use drive. What in New Hope is driving you to now say you want to do the military? Is it only because your homies came back and you felt like a piece of crap, or what?
Yeah, 100%.
Dang,
it was really just this sense of, man, I'm looking at, I came from, let's say I came from nothing. I was poor coming up, and I always knew I wanted something better, and I thought I was on the right track for a while, and I kind of fell off track because college is expensive, money wasn't there, my grades were okay. I wasn't failing or anything, but when they came back and they, just the brotherhood, you could just see it in their eyes. They were just different people.
Yeah.
Some they had some bad stuff. They did go to war. They had some positive and some negative out of it. But I was just like, they've done so much. I've done nothing. So that's 100% what it was. I was like, I have to do something. I have to do something. And I knew that the Marine Corps wasn't, right for me. Everybody has their own path. That wasn't my path, but I knew I had a path. And the National Guard worked out for me. So
we're gonna treat this like one of those documentaries where they want to encompass a large duration of time in a short amount that kind of does that little Marvels flip through all the things. So you come into Arkansas and you're the Sugar Honey Iced Tea. Like when I got in recruiting in 2015, the name I always heard about was you, and then there was this other female that was probably way better than you. I won't have to say her name, but she know who she is. But when you got here, what was it like first coming to Arkansas? Because you were already in recruiting, and so all you did was just transfer over to Arkansas?
Yeah, I came in, didn't know anybody, interviewed, and I interviewed against a couple good recruiters that were trying to get the position. And so I didn't know if I was going to get it. So I interviewed, they called me back and said, hey, you got the job. I was like, great. I come in day one, and the NCOIC was like, hey, here's your office, there's your school. Go.
Just like that.
Go. And I was like, all right, and innately, I knew I didn't want to fail. I moved here. I have nobody in Arkansas, nobody. The only people I know is my wife and her family. And her dad, was a lot of the reason I wanted to succeed because I didn't know anybody here and I didn't want to come here and be a failure. And then, I'm around her family. That's all I have to be around. And they're like, hey, look, you married this
this loser.
This loser, And so I had the drive to where I wanted to be successful, to just prove it to everybody. And so I knew I had to put the work in. So from day one, I'm building bridges, I'm building my brand, and I'm just putting the hours in, and because I just refused to fail.
Yeah.
And so I knew that from day one. So that's kind of how it started.
Why do you always feel like you got to prove something to folks? Those were some of the times I hated working for you because it's just like, Russ, it's already good. Yeah, but we need to also do X, Y, Z. We need to do it. And maybe it's coming from I need to do a bit more, or hey, because you wanted a certain way in regards of, I don't know, perfectness. Like where is there some trauma in the back of your mind where somebody would be like, Russ, man, you could have got it, but you got to do a little bit better.
I mean, sure, I always want to exceed people's expectations. There's always, they always say that people don't fail because they reach their they don't fail because they don't reach their goals. They fail because they reach their goals. And
Dang, hold on, say that one more time.
people don't fail because they don't reach their goals. They fail because they reach them and they set them too low. So if you're not setting your goals high, then if you're not setting them high enough, you're going to fail. Because you're hitting the minimum, and people get so comfortable with the minimum. They get so comfortable in their own skin. There was a guy who did an experiment, and we can do it and say, all right, I'm going to tell you, raise your hand as high as you can right now. Now go just a little bit higher. What the fuck is that?
God bless. Shit, yeah.
And it's the same concept. It's like, you've got a little bit more. You've got to be able to look inside and be willing to stretch yourself. You've got to stretch, because if you don't stretch, you're going to be stuck right there in complacency. And that's what I try to do with you and with everybody else. Stretch them to the point to where they're a little bit uncomfortable, and that's where you're winning.
I feel like that's been because you are really good about this, and I'm not saying I'm envious of it, but you are really good at this, and I'm not going to tell you yes just yet, so I won't boost your head up. But from everybody that's worked with you, they always see a difference, and this kind of goes into the podcast. They always see a difference in how you are in work zone and then with you as a regular person. How are you able to switch those off and on?
Well, it's just by creating a standard. When I go to work, there is a standard. We know what the output has to be. We know what value we're creating. If we're in marketing, we know what has to be done, X, Y, and Z. And I always would tell you and everybody else, we're going to do, make sure we do something for the good today for the guard, not for ourselves, but for the organization. And that's what we focus on at work. And I'm able to just cut that on. When you set clear standards and you set clear expectations, I feel like that's easy to switch into work mode. And then when work mode's over,
Now we shoot the breeze.
It's over with, and you can breathe. And as far as that goes, I'm not going to hold you to the same standard in a personal relationship as I would at work. I know that dynamic's hard for some people to navigate, being a friend or an associate or whatnot. And some people can't do it. Some people can't because they have nepotism or bias and or implicit bias. They don't even know they have it. And that's difficult for people. But I've always been really good about, hey, I'm task oriented. I know what I want to get done and I know what I have to do to get there. And if I have to hurt your feelings because you're not creating value or you're not adding to what the organization needs, I can do that. And hopefully you don't take it personal, and you shouldn't, because from day one, I'm going to hold you to that same standard as I am, day 20. I might be your best man at your wedding, but at the same time, when we go to work, we're at work to get a job. That is so
crazy. That is so crazy. Because now, is it bad? Is it bad to not want to be in one of those positions of doing that? For instance, let's say I was talking to Moore, and I know me and Moore, we was just joking about, I know he would really do it, but this was probably just our conversation. But with Moore getting the promotion, and what do they say? With great power comes great responsibility.
Absolutely.
You have to do more stuff. Is it bad to not want to have to do more stuff, but you want to get better as a person, or in that particular organization, it's like inevitable. You're going to have to adapt, and now you need to do it within this space. There's no just self-growing. You have to do all the other pieces of it.
I mean, innately, you got to want to do it. They say there's two type of people in the world. You've got lifters and you've got leaners. Lifters are people that are willing to do the hard work. They're willing to go in there and to put their nose down and make sure stuff happens. They don't make excuses. But lifters also bring up leaners. So, as somebody like Moore transitions from being in a role where he doesn't have people under him, he has to be willing to still do the work, but bring the people up underneath him. And you've got to be willing to want to do that. You've got to be willing to want to see other people succeed. And I think that's, a lot of times leaders get into their roles and they get comfortable and they don't want to see other people succeed. And that's never been the case with me. Maybe early on, I worried about myself, but I had really good mentors. So it's like, it's not about you, and it's not about like a new team lead or a new supervisor. It's not about you anymore. It's about you making your team better, more effective. And if you don't want to do that, then you're just a high performer, and that shouldn't be in a leadership role.
Is that bad though?
It's not a bad thing. So, I'll take my son, for example. He's an engineer in Houston. And they told him when he came in, he had excellent communication skills. He had excellent nonverbal. He had good tonality. He could speak well. And they told him, they said, that's what we look for in a leader. everybody else can do the job that's here, but leaders can communicate effectively and motivate people. And if you want to be a leader in the organization, that's the path that we're going to put you. Not everybody can do that. Some people are just going to be, subject matter experts that can do the job really well. And that's not a bad thing because everyone's not a leader.
Correct.
So
now, if you're looking at it like in the grand scheme of things, because I feel like you may kind of hint towards this, even as the leader, you don't have to be the sugar honey iced tea in that particular field, or is it expected of you to kind of be the?
Okay, so yes and no. There are different ways to lead. You can lead as a subject matter expert. You should know your craft and you should know your field. But think about a CEO of an organization. CEOs don't, for instance, a doctor's office. They have a CEO. That CEO doesn't know how to do the surgery.
Correct.
That CEO doesn't know how to go in and draw blood or take blood pressure. They don't know how to do that. However, they do know how to lead and manage individuals, and they know how to lead and manage the budget and the finances and the personnel. So they don't have to know how to do every aspect of the job, but they need to have an overall understanding. And if they're not a subject matter expert, they really need to be good at the other stuff. I always like to be a subject matter expert. I always like to know what's happening on the ground. I like to be a servant leader. I like to be, with my people so I can see the trials and the tribulations and see what's working and what's not working so that when they come back to me complaining or making excuses, which me, I hate excuses.
Oh man, yeah,
it's the number one thing. It's my pet peeve. But if they have those, I want to be right there with them so I can validate their concerns. That's the type of leadership that I like. But yes, you can do it both ways. And depending on the organization, it's going to depend on which way works best for you and the individual.
Heard that. And now I do want to dabble just a teensy weensy bit over into the military side of stuff. So you've gotten a lot of dope accolades, and one of the biggest ones was did you ever get the big one?
Yeah.
Okay, so explain what that was like, because you weren't in a leadership role at that time, were you? You were a regular?
I was just, I was on my own, and it was just putting in a lot of extra work, being willing to go above and beyond and not just settle for the status quo. Any person in a sales organization, they know that to be the top salesman, you can't just do what your boss lays out for you. You can't just do the minimum. You've got to go above and beyond, build relationships with different organizations. Like for my instance, organizations with the Rotary Club and with the schools and with civic organizations, and to build my brand. And that took time to build trust and to know that, people knew that I was authentic and I wanted what was in everyone's best interest.
That's
right. And that's how I ended up doing it, just putting in the work. And a lot of times salesmen, sales reps, recruiters, they're not willing to do that. They're willing to just do just enough. And those people, they can be toxic to an organization over time, because the new people will come in and they'll see that.
Now they seeing that.
Now
mess.
they're saying, oh, well, this is just enough. That person's, taking all this leave and getting all this, and they're still getting paid, and the just enough. So you're never going to have a high performing team if you're settling for people that think just enough is enough.
Do you think Bill Belichick would fire his low performers? I mean, you still got to have 52 people on the roster, but like in that same vein with sports, is there any room for your just enough? I mean, nobody's expecting the kicker to go out there and...
Yeah, I think you do fire the kicker.
Really?
You have to settle for...
Everybody gonna be best.
You have to settle for excellence. Now, excellence may be their excellence. They may not be the best kicker in the NFL, but they're the best kicker that they can be. And if they're not putting in the work to be the best that they can be, not every kicker can kick a 56-yard field goal, but every kicker maybe can kick a 45-yard field goal and kick at 89%.
Yeah,
that's what you want. You want the best that they can offer. And so it's the same with individuals on your team. Yeah, I understand that a salesman that's in an area with a low propensity may not sell as much as somebody that's in
Explain
Dallas.
what propensity means.
So the market. So the market's not as dense. They don't have as many people to sell to. So they're in a market with not as many people to sell to. Their dealership is in a rural city. They're not going to sell as many, Chevy Tahoes as somebody that's in Dallas.
Gotcha.
I get that. But they're going to sell as many as they can. And they're going to do the best that they can. And that they can still be a high performer in that aspect.
I feel like, and you may say differently, but I feel like that would be hard to equate, because with you, probably, let's say you were also in that area and you used to pull out let's just say 20 for whatever insert sales objective is. And you have somebody coming in and be like, man, ain't nothing here, bro. I could only get 7 out of this.
Yeah.
At that point, like, what do you say? Come on now.
No. At that point, so for instance, I did have that situation. I took over a new team, and when I first got there, everybody would tell me what this would produce or what could be done or what's been done historically.
They've already got their stretch.
They've already got their stretch. That's what they think. And so as a new leader, that is a pitfall. And it is one that I fell for as a new leader of a new area. And I trusted and I verified to an extent. And it took me a little bit more time to actually dig into the data and say, hey, look, no, this is what they're telling me, but they're not performing at their peak. They're just giving me what they've given in the past. I need to be able to stretch them so that they can get what's actually out there because the data says that it's out there. So it takes, digging into the market share, digging into the metrics and finding out what your area can actually produce, whether, whatever you're selling as far as that goes.
We're gonna get into some other dope stuff because one of the things that you have is a long drive, and always whenever we chat, I end up hearing something new, like you end up watching My Name Is Earl, or you end up hearing something dope on the Joe Rogan show. So you had a bit of a drive when it comes to where you initially work at. But one of the things I wanted to start off with was starting your day with intention and the importance of morning routines. Your drive ain't no right up the street. You got to go a little bit to get to the office.
Yeah, so at least 2 to 3 days a week I'm traveling. I'll be in the car for 4 or 5 hours, sometimes 6 if I'm going to El Dorado. It just depends. So yeah, when I wake up, my morning starts really early. My morning starts at around 4:30 on every morning. Get to the gym, come back, shower, change, coffee, take my daughter to school, and then get on the road. I have a schedule. I know that when I get to my car, where I'm going and what I have planned out for that day, because I don't have time to waste. If I'm going to El Dorado, I know what key points I want to talk about with that particular.
How far is that duration wise?
From my house, roughly 3 hours.
Okay.
So I know what I want to talk about when I get there. I know what answers I want to hear. I know what facts I'm going to check, and we're going to go have lunch. We're going to, discuss whatever, or if they have something on the schedule, I'm going to evaluate them on. I have that planned out because time is valuable. And that's something that a lot of new salespeople or a lot of new recruiters, they don't value their time. Time is valuable. My time is valuable. I value my time with my family, my friends, my free time. So while I'm at work, I'm working. And so I have to have intention every single day. That's kind of how I operate.
I talked to a broker here recently, and he was saying that was one of the hardest things for him to get his real estate agents, because in the same vein, it's still one of the same team lead or top dog, and then you got your cats under. And he was like, I'm trying to, because we were just talking about sales in general, but he's like, I'm trying to get them to understand that a lot of the useless tasks or like the small things that can probably be pushed to next year, don't be double down and focusing on that in regards of thinking about all the efforts that you do towards getting this particular home sold or helping somebody get to buy this home. Think about what your time is worth in like hourly cost. So being able to equate your time, like, dang, it took me 12 weeks, or it took me, let's say, 2 weeks to get this person from signed contract to get ready to close. All this stuff I did in the middle. Dang, if you actually put it like dollar to time, you're probably getting paid either like $12 an hour. And so he said when you focus on a lot of these high level tasks, now your time is much more valuable. You're looking at $50 an hour, because now we're just focused on, hey, let's get the contract signed. Cool. All the other stuff that they need to do, secondary, like going to get the pre-approval, you ain't got nothing to do with that. Let them go do that and then come back. And it's just, I feel like in the same vein, it's the same with in recruiting.
Yeah, absolutely. I read a book last year. It was called Essentialism. And basically it just focuses on teaching you how to get rid of all the noise, anything that doesn't create value. So what is value? Value can be, monetary. It could be training to make you better. It could be something that improves your organization. But a lot of times in real estate, and in like my job recruiting, value is enlistments. In real estate, it's sales. If you're doing a task that doesn't generate value, why are you doing it?
Exactly.
Why? You are wasting company resources. You are wasting your own time. Essentialism is important. Do things that add value for yourself and for the organization, and you'll save yourself time, you'll save yourself money. And I think it said somewhat like 60% of the average workday is centered around making value. The other 40% is wasted.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. If you put that into a 40-hour work week, how many hours are just wasted. You could probably work, 28 hours a week if you actually focused on high level tasks and accomplished more than you're doing now. But people don't see it like that.
I tell you what, I'm probably definitely one of the ones who end up doing the later half of the BS during work. I mean, I know we always do, but when I started to kind of come over and start doing my own business, and now I have a guy that I'm responsible for on an hourly wage, I'm definitely like, hey,
Yeah,
bro.
for sure. Hey, what are you doing? Yeah.
Hey, and I told him, I don't want to feel micromanaging, and that kind of goes into our next point. So how are you able to lead and make sure that they're doing effective tasks without coming across as, hey, did you do that yet? Hey, did you do that yet? Or do you have to?
You don't have to. Okay, so the biggest part about leading is not micromanaging. A lot of times you can have a conversation with somebody, like your employee, for example. You give him a task. You give him a concise task, and you tell him what the deliverable is. You don't tell him how to do the task. You ask him how is he going to get it done. So whatever task XYZ is, you tell him what the ultimate outcome that you want, and then you say, hey, how are you going to get that done? That's, delegation, mission command, as we call it in the military. I never tell my recruiters, hey, you're going to do XYZ, unless they get put on a performance improvement plan or something like that. I tell them what the outcome needs to be. I tell them how they're going to get to the outcome. I say, hey, I need X amount of enlistments this month. To get X amount of enlistments, data historically has shown that we have to make this many phone calls, we have to do this many appointments, and we have to do this many testers. I don't care how you get to that number, and I will tell them this. I don't care how you get to that number. That doesn't matter to me. As long as you get to that number, it's real data, and we hit the metrics. And then I'll meet with them individually, and I'll say, all right, you know what you got to do? How are we doing it this month? And they'll say, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Fantastic. When it doesn't happen, then I'll go back, double down, and say, hey, you didn't do one of these steps. Because if you did, it would have happened. And if you did do it and it didn't happen, what are we doing next week? Because obviously this management method that you gave me, it didn't work.
Now, with that being just on the surface level, because I mean, every industry could do something different in that same vein of what you want them to achieve. So for my example, if I say, hey, I want you to do, I don't know, I want to say clean the office, but I'm trying to think of something he could do. Okay, let's take, because I've been showing him slowly how to do cold calls or getting the cold calls and where to go find folks. So if I say, hey, I want you to make 20 cold calls this week, are you saying based off that information, I should keep it as broad as that after I've given initial training on how to do cold calls and we kind of walk through them and all that good stuff? So are we saying that after he's good and trained or to a level to where he feels comfortable or we feel comfortable with him, we give them the broad task of, hey, Anthony, I need you to go make 20 calls this week?
I would never give somebody like a number, like a broad number of cold calls. I wouldn't say, hey, you're going to make 20 cold calls. Because, there's a guy who they did a study and they said, hey, this office call center, it was on a podcast. I said, this call center is going to do, you're mandated. Each person has to do 2,000 phone calls a day or 300 or whatever the call center does. And what would happen is they would get through the calls and they would call and they say, hey, this is so-and-so with Progressive Life Insurance or whatever. And they say, oh, I'm not interested. And the first objection, they say, okay, thanks. And they'd hang up because they're like, all right, that counts. That counts. And it became a numbers thing. Well, what they found was that wasn't working. They came in after first quarter and said, hey, our numbers are down. So they did a study, and what they found was they were hanging up after the first objection. So then they said, hey, we want you to be on the phone for X amount of time. That made them fight through the first objection. They can make less phone calls throughout the day. Instead of making 100, they can make 30. And they could be on the phone for 7 minutes with one person. They fight through the first objective, second objective, and then they get the sale. And so that was better. So if I was going to task that individual, I'd say, hey, I want you to get X amount of leads for me today or whatever. I'd give them that. I wouldn't say just make 20 phone calls. Okay. I'd give them a clear objective because phone calls isn't a clear objective. He can just call and hang up. So I'd give him something more precise, something more tangible and measurable.
Like how we would do in a booked IA or something.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So now with all this, you're going into a new space within a leadership, a new team, and you've never recruited down there at all, right?
Never.
Okay, yeah. So what is that like when you're going into a whole new doggone culture even?
Yeah.
And like what are you expecting? Because it's not the best area in the world. Nobody's just itching to go there.
Yeah, for sure.
But you also needed to get your progression and all your stuff as well. So can you explain what that was like initially?
Yeah, it was a little daunting initially just because I didn't know the area. I'm not from Arkansas, so I don't really venture outside of where I live. So I didn't know much about the area. And going down there, we didn't have a lot of leadership in place down there at the time. We had leadership going out and people moving around. So I had a couple people to lean on, and I took their advice under advisement. Probably a little too much. Like I said earlier, I should have made my own assessment. So I would advise any new leader, they say, oh, when you come into a new area, this is what they always say. When you come into a new job, you need to assess the situation for X amount of days,
90
60 days,
days,
90
yeah.
days, and then make changes. No, that's bullshit. Okay.
Is it why?
Why? Because you're going to get either everybody's best or everybody's worst from the beginning. You're not getting a real snapshot of what's going on in that area.
So you should come down and be like, hey, y'all.
No, you should come down yourself.
Okay.
Get a lay of the area, get the data that backs it up, and then you should implement whatever you're going to implement from day one. It's hard to make changes after you've been there for 90 days. At that point, they think they're going to do whatever they're going to do.
That's a fact. Like I hate to cut you off, but like let's say it's something that I need. Let's say I'm starting to want my guy to start putting equipment up or in these certain cubby spots. He's been here since I don't know, like early September or late August at this point. And for me to keep reminding that, I was like, I should have did that at the beginning. That way, it's just second nature. But you're right, having to go back and retroactive try to have folks do stuff. So
yeah, you got to set the standards from the get go. When I did come into a new space, there are certain non-negotiables. I have 8 non-negotiables, regardless of whatever position or job that I take, even if it's in the corporate world. And accountability is always number one. You're not going to be late. You're going to be at work at X amount of time.
Let me tell y'all what this dude do when I show up to work. 3 minutes later, let me guess, you had to go and pave the rest of the road or something? Or, let me guess, you had to work for Cotton, I don't know, somebody this morning? He'll always throw it slick too, and then it'll progressively get worse. I didn't have to progressively get worse, but you can definitely see the echelon.
Well, I just want to feel like, if you could be at work on time, at least I can trust you with that, and that's important to me. Accountability is important. Professional appearance is always, that's number 2 on my list. If you're going to come do a job for me, whether, you're selling houses or you're selling whatever, you're going to come correct. You're not going to be selling houses for me dressed like you're coming off of Selling Sunset, if it was me, but
you don't want them to look that way.
No, I don't.
Why? Sex sells.
It's Arkansas.
Okay. If anything, you need to have 3 good pairs of coveralls.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that being said, professionalism, appearance, as far as that goes, accountability, and no egos. This was the biggest one that I had to establish with the new team. They don't know me. I don't know them, but I can't afford to let you have an ego. I don't care how much you think you know. I don't care how much I think I know. I'm going to learn from you. Because, education goes up and down the chain of command, whether it's, civilian or military. I'm not going to have an ego, but neither are you. You're not going to come in and tell me, this is the way we always did it. I'm great at this or whatnot. We're not doing that. I'll see what works. You can show me what works, but no ego. That's a big one for me. And no excuses.
Do you nip that in the bud? Like,
Absolutely.
Do you bait it to see who's going to be that guy? Be like, Anthony, we ain't never did it like that. Chill out, bro.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Nip it in the bud. The issue that we have a lot of times right now in our organizations, we're hiring a lot of young people, and at no fault of their own, it's just like a lot of young people now have big egos, and that's okay.
Like entitlement, are these one and the same or is it different?
No, not really entitlement. Confidence is good. Confidence is great, and I want confidence. And every salesperson wants confidence. You want somebody that can do a social media post, and be funny and charismatic and sell, or sell
you can
a
say
house.
like me if you want to.
Okay. Yeah. Like, what's that other light skinned cat you had on here?
Who?
The one that sells houses, used to be in the guard.
Burke.
Yeah, like Burke.
Okay. yeah.
Be like him. But no, in all seriousness, but yeah, you got to nip that in the bud. But you do that, there are ways to do it. I still I make it abundantly clear that if you have a way to do something, I'm willing to learn as a leader. I'm willing to take it under advisement. But at the end of the day, I'm going to lay the foundation. I'm going to lay the standard because I'm in that position. And when the axe falls, I'm ultimately responsible for it. And I'm the one who has to answer, not you, not them, So they understand that.
It's one of those things. I was talking to a person, and this I'm gonna long story short it here real quick. The idea was that we should all be, and I do not know the exact terms, but I'm kind of give you the definition. So if I'm not mistaken, she mentioned that I feel like our United States government should be we should do socialism. I'm not even sure how to put that word together to make it grammatically correct, but it came from the fact that I was telling her I was a capitalist, and she said why, and I was like, well, I want to make more opportunities and money, and that's what makes the world go round, with people being more innovative and folks, and I was like, well, think about it this way: what if everybody was the same level playing field in regards of hey, no matter what job you do, you're making the same as me. I was like, well, how do you have innovation and all that type of stuff? And it ended up coming to a fact that she was like, well, if we were all the same, if we all put in the same effort, we all put in the same, I don't know, insert another word here that's cool. Same.
It's not going to happen because people innately are selfish. You know, the majority of people are selfish. The majority of people are lazy. And we have third generation welfare, and it's like, how does that even happen? It's never going to be a level playing field, regardless of how much we want it to. There are always going to be haves and have-nots, but you're always going to have people that are able to scratch and claw and work their way to the top. Is it fair? Probably not, but it's the way it's always been. It's the way it's going to be, and we're not going to change that with some arbitrary conversation. At the end of the day, lace your boots up, get to work, and put the effort in, and you can have success in America. You want to sell houses, you want to make $1 million. Grind, work. That's what you have to do. I don't believe in people. It should all be equal and kumbaya, and the neurosurgeon should be making the same amount of money as the people changing diapers or changing tires. They should all be valued at their worth. At the end of the day.
Now, with you being in a position that you feel like a lot of the stuff you've done, you've clawed. In some areas, you may felt like you got the shorter end of the stick and stuff like that. What keeps somebody motivated to want to keep going and doing stuff as opposed to being like, all right, man, screw this. Cool. Hey, y'all do whatever y'all want to do, man. I'm about to just go ahead and check out.
Yeah, I think it goes.
You could
back.
Absolutely do that.
I mean, I would probably need a therapist for that for myself. It goes back to probably childhood. Just wanting to at this point in my career, because I'm on the backside of my career, but I want to keep going. I want to see and get as high as I can. I think a lot of it's coming from where I came from,
which was nothing. I want y'all to understand. We're not talking about doggone Tuskegee, Alabama. Is that in Alabama?
Yeah,
it's
Tuskegee.
Yeah. We're not talking about a place nobody knows. I honestly thought that was the name of a church. New Hope.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a New Hope Baptist church.
Yeah,
somewhere.
I'm sure there's probably one in every. But no, I just want to. I want to achieve greatness. I want to leave my mark. At the end of the day, when I leave the organization, I want to leave it better. I want to look back and be like, hey, this person's better because because of me. This person's better. The organization's better. I want to have an impact on other people's lives as well. And I felt like I've had the chance to do that. I'm going to continue to try to mentor and guide people as best I can. I'm not saying I'm a perfect mentor. I'm not saying I'm a perfect guide, but I'm going to give people the best advice.
Though. And you're
absolutely,
not.
I mean, look at where we're at.
Okay.
You used to work for me. So.
Okay. Now, there was a point on here that it was really, really tough for me to kind of wrap my head around. But it's about avoiding common pitfalls and balancing authority and approachability. Not that I'll use TA for instance. If you don't know TA, you would say, that's a thugged out guy. I want to stay away from TA. And you, on the other hand, what I would see would be more of the perceived, more approachable guy. Like if I see TA and you, I'm going to go talk to that dad there. He looks a lot more approachable. But then coming off as being a dick or being they may get to know you and TA and realize, bro, y'all see TA, but TA's a lot more relaxed than you, and regardless if that's because of position and stuff like that. But how do you fine tune that approachability versus being an authority?
Yeah, so obviously Anderson works for me, and yeah, it's really funny that you mentioned that because I may have to counsel Anderson for something that his people do or something like that. Yeah. And Anderson is he hates not meeting objectives. He wants to succeed. He doesn't want to ever be reprimanded, but as a leader, you have to.
For sure.
And so when he gets it, he gives it twice to his people. So, me, I'm just,
It just registered what you said.
at the end of the day, when I am approachable, but at the end of the day, I'm non-negotiable on certain things. And if you're not achieving, the standards that are set, they know, I'm not going to waver. When you start wavering and you start going, oh, well, I'm going to let it slide this time because your dog was sick or your wife was sick or, everybody's got excuses. I hate excuses. Oh, well, this or that. My daughter's got gymnastics. I don't care.
Everybody got daughters.
Everybody's at the end of the day, when you're in a sales position, especially like real estate or especially like, recruiting, our hours are weird. We all have families, but that doesn't negate the fact that you have an obligation to do a job. I do care about your family life. As a leader, you should have some empathy. You have to have empathy. But when it is recurring, and it's constant, at the end of the day, I don't care at this point. We have standards set. And so I am approachable, but they know if you don't meet the standard, that's you're getting counseled, or there is going to be, an improvement plan. There's going to be something. There's going to be guardrails put in place to ensure that we succeed. Because I'm not going to let one person derail the success of the entire team. We've got 13 people that depend on you. So if you can't pull your weight, we'll figure out a way to do it. And TA, he has his own leadership style, and he's doing a great job, I have to say. But is he a little bit more unapproachable? Maybe, but at the end of the day, he gives the same great advice that I try to give. So.
Yeah. And I think it's just from outside looking in. I saw TA. I was like, that guy's seen some stuff. That TA, that fella there is an interesting
I mean, he was
fella.
a Palm Bluff police
Yeah,
officer,
I know.
detective, undercover detective. He's seen some things.
Exactly.
Seen some things, man.
And some stuff. I'm not proud of it. Is that what he said?
Yeah, not proud of it. Seen some
I'm not
things.
proud of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a couple questions that's going to be like more of a this or that. Which one is more important and why you would go one versus the other? And you just said one of them. So as a leader, having empathy versus sympathy. And I never know the correct what to associate for either of those in regards to the definition.
Empathy is just understanding a situation, but empathy doesn't mean giving in to their needs. So sympathy's feeling sorry for them. Oh, I feel sorry for you.
Now before you, because you are super go getter, but now is that legit feeling sorry for somebody, or is that how you're
feeling sorry for them? Like you're just, you just feel sorry for them, and you're going to cave to whatever they need. Empathy is understanding their situation, being like, hey, I understand your grandfather just passed away. Hey, take some time off. Do what you need to do to get yourself, together mentally, and then you'll get back to work, and we'll go from there. I feel
like you were about to say, but I'm gonna need 5 folks from you when you get back.
Oh no, I mean absolutely. You still have a job to do when you get back.
God bless.
Got a job to do.
There's no way of getting out of anything in that sense. And so sympathy, you feel like sympathy has no value.
No, not in a business aspect. Sympathy has value, in your personal relationships and your friendships. Absolutely, and most sympathy's fake anyways, but
dang, based off of what? You saying
based off of
you don't
when's the
really
last time you have seen a Facebook post where somebody died or something happened and you're like, thoughts and prayers, and you had zero sympathy. You just posted the emoji pray hands. It's like it's all and you do
Facebook
it.
probably auto-populated or something.
Absolutely, it's like prayer hands. Hope you feel
Sending
better.
my condolences.
It's fake.
Oh man, there's some things that probably could have went without saying, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah, no,
And,
it's hard to hear, but it's true. It's virtue signaling, sympathy.
I scrolled this post, so I have to let them know I acknowledged it, and so I can keep going on about my day. My phone won't allow me to scroll past it if I don't say anything. So let me go ahead and check that block for
What's
today.
like the birthday post? Nobody means it.
Oh, yeah. You wouldn't even know my birthday if it weren't for Facebook.
Yeah, but they're like, auto-populate. Facebook has made us so lazy to where it says auto-populate. It's like, oh, you didn't tell me happy birthday. Yeah, I did. Check your 47 notifications.
You don't see me on your timeline, man? Now, have you ever had one of the moments, you as a leader, that was kind of like, oh, shit, here we go. Like it's about to, whether you were in the position that you're in now, or maybe in some of your other leadership areas where you were like, oh shit.
I mean, only in the sense of underperformance. There's been a couple times where we have grossly underperformed, and I sit back and I go, what did I do for 30 days? And what about me makes them believe that this is acceptable? And that's where I kind of go back and I'm like, oh shit, why do they think that this is acceptable? Do they not know me? What am I putting off to make them believe that this level of output is sustainable? I mean, we paid, 12 people, X amount of dollars for 30 days, and this is what I get. What did I do wrong? I don't think about them. I think about what did I do wrong to make them believe that this is good. So I've had a couple of those that I've had to, course correct on, and self-reflection, and I've learned from.
But at what point is it? And this is obviously, you can call it shift and blame, and you can call it an excuse. But at what point, in all seriousness, does it turn into more of a, hey, y'all, damn it, I did all I could do. I even went out and recruited with them, and I went and found 5 folks. Luckily, I can't go in and list them. Like, at what point? Because you don't get to pick your entire team.
No, you don't, but you get to fire them if you deem necessary. So, we can't be somebody said you can't be as naive as a leader to think that you can fix somebody that's broken. You can't. You're not a good enough leader. Nobody is a good enough leader to make somebody intrinsically motivated to do their job. I can't come into your house and say, Thomas Brown, you're going to be good at this, and this is why. I'm motivated. Yeah, it'll be false motivation for a day or two, but at the end of the day, if you don't have the drive, you're going to fail. Those are the people you got to get rid of. As a leader, you have to be able to recognize that early. And if you don't, then it's going to be a long road ahead. And, the issue with obviously the military is, once you get them locked in, they're locked in, which I don't like that model. It's better on the civilian side because, hey, you're on a probationary period. Hey, we can get rid of this guy. He's toxic. He's not motivated to sell. He's not motivated to do the job. He's always complaining, always saying why he can't do it. Why? I hate the why people. You ask them, well, I can't because I don't want to hear that.
Like, just do it.
Just do it. Just make it happen.
When it comes to overall being able to perform at your best and all that type of stuff, you just mentioned that there's a few more things in place that allows you to be able to shift somebody out. But how do you handle people getting into this new field, especially because you mentioned a lot of people are young, and initially, I guess it's really cool for everybody to be you're doing Army stuff full time, or you're doing real estate agent stuff full time. You're around the people, and it's exciting. Your level of energy is here. But then as you start to realize, oh, I got to make calls. I got to go door knock. I got to go shake hands and shake babies. And now it doesn't feel as exciting as it once was.
Yeah, I think, with a lot of, especially like real estate and any sales job, that it's glamorized on TV. It looks sexy. It looks so nice. But they don't see, the cold calls, the late nights, the getting told no, the getting, feedback sheets that say, hell no, this is stupid. They don't see that. So you have to be really resilient in any sales field, and you've got to be dynamic in any sales field. And unfortunately, people can put on good for interviews and they can say they want to do it, but then when it gets time to do the hard work, the stuff that's not as glamorous, the stuff that's done in the dark, the stuff that's done late at night, the emails and the phone calls and the mail outs and all that kind of stuff. They don't want to do that. They just want to do the glamorous stuff. They want to stand there, and when they're signing the contracts and smiling, taking the Facebook photos and stuff like that. That's what they want to do, but they don't understand the other work that comes into it. When you find somebody that loves that hard work, that loves the grind, then you're never, a good salesman's never going to be out of work. So when you find those people are special. The problem is with young people, you don't really ever know right off. It's hard to evaluate that talent. You can evaluate personality, because I've hired some people with great personalities, but then at the end of the day, they didn't want to grind.
Is it because they don't want to get told no? You think like is there really a true mechanism or data point that you can kind of equate to, like, man, they were dope, they had all the pieces, or maybe they just weren't mature enough yet? Because I feel like when I got on AGR, I think 2021, before they changed the thing, hell, outside of me being able to just smile and shake a hand, I don't think I was great at sales or anything. My numbers show I did do pretty good. But I don't think there was anything innate outside of somebody saying, I don't know, maybe I was just self-motivated internally, because I'm like, all right, I'm supporting for me and my family at this point.
Yeah, I think when you do have something like a family, or you're trying to prove something, you have something that drives you. you're more apt to be successful. You know, you're more apt not to fail. When
Yeah.
you don't have anything and you're like, hey, we're hiring a lot of young people and this is their first real job. Well, they don't care at the end of the day. If this fails, they'll fall back and they'll go to Amazon or they'll go to Falcon
college or
Jet
something.
or go to college, and that's a mistake, that we make. But when they have something to lose or something that they're really fighting for, a lot of times, that'll drive them. You have to have that, but you have to have the other intangible aspects to be a good salesman too. We talked about so.
Man, and being in sales, like you mentioned, if you're good at sales, you don't have to worry about going without for quite a while. And with you being in a sales position, especially in a leadership position, you have all of these different personalities that would have to interact with each other, interact with people out in public. How do you chess play those?
Yeah,
things?
absolutely. Managing personalities is the main thing a leader does. I mean, and if you can't manage the personalities, you're not ever going to be a good leader.
What does it mean to manage the personality, not the person?
Yeah, the personality. So you have to know how to motivate each individual, how to talk to them, how to lead them, how to set their expectations and goals, and how to provide them purpose and direction. So everybody is different. So I know that some of my recruiters are super sensitive. Like you wouldn't believe how sensitive some salespeople can be. And I know that I can't talk to them a certain type of way, but I still have to talk to them direct and give them, my expectations. But I'm not going to. I may give them a counseling that says, and it may actually read that you did the worst of the worst of the worst, and you're trash this month, and yada yada. But the way I deliver it, is, hey, this is what it is, and this is what you were, but this isn't what you can be, and that's how I'll deliver it. And I'm like, this is how we need to move forward. I have a plan of action to move forward, and you try to build them up and motivate them in that way. Then you have some people that are their personalities is they want to be challenged, and those are the people I'll challenge, and I'll come in and be like, hey man, so and so is doing better than you. How are you going to let them? You're better than this guy.
Poke the bear.
You kind of poke the bear a little bit. So you have to know their personality style. You have to know how to lead them best. And when I moved into the new position, new area, I didn't know any of these guys, and so it did take a little bit of time to determine, hey, how do I lead each of them to get the most out of them? How do I stretch them and make them feel like they still have some sense of control of their career?
Can you also say, man, I don't care how the hell you take this information. You sorry, you trash. Hey, I need you to do better, big dog. Like, could you not do that? Or you feeling like, cause I mean, you're not young, you're not new school in regards of, he don't care about nobody else's feelings. I don't understand why you feel like so in a leadership position, why is that a key, or why do you feel like you have to do that?
You can do that for short-term success, okay?
By just not
Yeah,
caring,
you could
get it done.
come in and say, hey, you're trash, you're trash, you're trash. You guys are going to do X, Y, and Z, period. And this is the way it's going to be. And you'll get short-term success, but what you're going to find is that in the long term, your retention rates are going to be awful. You're only going to have a high-performing team when they want to perform high for you as a leader. So if they don't want to perform for you and you can't motivate them, you're never going to have long-term success. You'll have this little burst where it goes, oh man, look how good they did. And then 2 months later, it's going to fall off because people are going to quit. People are going to get burnt out. They're not going to be able to sustain the efforts. And I always tell people in our business, I need to stretch you, but I need it to be sustainable. So I need you to do the most that you can for a long period of time. So that means taking leave when it's appropriate or taking vacation. But when you come back and when you're at work, hey, we're doing everything we can. But when you're at home, I'm not calling you. I'm not bothering you, but I'm going to try to get the most out of you while you're here.
One thing that we've been seeing in and out of the media was the 4-day work week.
Sure.
What is your idea, your take on the 4-day work week?
I mean, I don't have an issue with it. I just feel like if you're going to come in and you're going to give me, my 8 hours of actual value, you're going to give me my value that I need to succeed and that you need to succeed and that the organization needs. I mean, that's arbitrary, really. It doesn't really matter to me.
Ooh, okay. Is that because, like you mentioned with sales, it's this weird hourly. So maybe it didn't work necessarily with our particular field, but in a regular work day where, I don't know, doctor's office.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I think that you need to be in the office. I don't believe in all of this work from home nonsense.
Oh, okay.
So, but if you're in the office 4 days a week and you're working 10 hours and it's not affecting, the CFO comes down and says, hey, business is good, we're good. Nah, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I want to dig into your back pocket here real quick. So you mentioned you're not about the working from home stuff.
No, that's nonsense.
What if, because earlier, if I give, Anthony gave a task, hey, your deliverable needs to be this. What's the difference in them giving you that same deliverable at the crib?
Because, okay, so it's just somebody that's solely working from home, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Or I guess they did the little flippity flop whoosh.
Well, because when you work from home, you get stuck into tunnel vision. Okay, so you're only seeing your own thoughts. You're only seeing what you're producing. There's no opportunity for growth. There's no opportunity for leadership opportunity, and there's no opportunity for cross platform or cross organizational communications and discussions. So a lot of the times, what you're gonna produce isn't going to be what the organization needs. A lot of times, there's not going to be a lot of innovation, and that's where you run into those issues, especially like in our organization. It would be terrible if you worked from home. There'd be no talk, there'd be no cross talks, there'd be no best practices. And I think, we can do it from teams, but as a leader, you need to have hands on. You need to be able to see what your people are doing. You need to be able to extort their creativity, and you can't do that if you're working from home.
Why does the word extort seem like a negative word?
It's not. It can be.
Like, I'm just going to take this stuff from here.
I'm going to take your creativity. I'm going to make sure that we utilize it.
And some of the things that you do, it would come off as a bit arbitrary on how your leadership style is. For instance, you're fond of Tay-Tay.
Sure.
And you you do Spartan races, and you're like in a lot of niched, unique areas of where you find but interest in. So what are some of the things that you do when you're not doing a 12-hour trip out there to El Dorado, wherever you have to go to? Like, where do you focus a lot of your time afterwards?
Education right now.
I was just about to ask you, like reading books and stuff.
One course, I have my master's done. So right now it's a lot of education, a lot of personal development. Trying to plan out my life after the military, setting myself up for that, as far as that goes. But, free time, obviously, running, exercising, gym, Spartan races, concerts, music. I love music, entertainment. Not so much movies lately. But yeah, that's where I spend a lot of my time. Was golfing. Haven't been doing that a lot lately, but get back to it soon enough.
Speaking of movies, did you see that new Martha Stewart documentary?
I saw it was out. Haven't seen it yet.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. She's a boss too. Not that I had any inklings about Martha being one way or the other, but she's almost. So I guess she's the first self-made billionaire lady. But then there's Oprah, and Oprah like billionaire too, or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, but she didn't get no documentary though.
I'm sure she does. She has like her own channel. So.
I'm sure I can get on Tubi and sure, Tubi. Yeah, I'm sure I can get out over there. So what's your next thing that you're getting into? Are you planning, or do you foresee some stars aligning with you going into a different position, promoted differently? What do you think's happening?
I have goals, obviously. I think it's important for anybody that's in any sales job or any organization to have goals, to have a vision board, or at least have notes in your phone that say, hey, in 3 years I want to be here, 5 years I want to be here. And if you don't have that, then you're selling yourself short. But obviously I want to move into I'm an NCOIC or supervisor right now over a company or a group of 12, 13 people. I want to move into a supervisor position over a whole company, which would be a first sergeant position. So just moving up in supervisory roles, and then eventually, I want to get the ultimate role, being an E9 in the military. That's the goal. I'd be lying if I said I don't want to reach that before I retire, and that would cement. Maybe at that point, whatever my trauma will go away from childhood, and then maybe it won't. Maybe then you'll be like, is Rusnick running for governor? Is that the guy who said he had childhood trauma? And then people will be,
He's like, I did it. I told you I would do it.
Yeah.
He's like,
so I don't know,
all right, bro. I get it.
We'll see. Maybe I'll feel fulfilled, but I don't feel fulfilled right now. So that's a good thing. I feel like I'm still moving upward. So,
I do want to ask you about that. Like early on, like maybe 20. What year did I get married? It had to be like 2016. I got married, so 2015, 14ish. We were still in college, Camille and I. And one of the things that we were talking about is I would always be doing something, because I also felt like I don't think I had none of the trauma, y'all. That's not why I'm doing it. But she was like, you're always trying to find stuff to do, until I was able to put into words, yeah, but I always want to do more stuff. But where do you think, because there are people that are successful that didn't have to grind or go as hard as us. Maybe it's because of the field they're in, or maybe because of what's that word when you have family that helps you out? Not immunity.
Nepotism?
Nepotism. I mean, there's these other reasons why folks can be successful quicker. But when somebody is always doing something, I read like it was like a small insert, and it said, if you think about it, if you go like 3 levels down, 4 levels down, or something like that, you're either running from something or you're running away from something. So I think that example was like, you're working so hard so you don't have to be home. You're running from something in regards to like internal, like you never had, so you're always trying to go forward to make sure you don't have to go back.
No, for sure.
And then there was like some other arbitrary thought behind it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm running from something I never had. Yeah, for sure.
Because you were poor.
Yeah, super poor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now you still act like you're poor.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how this guy does. He'll bring these little Chex Mix to work, but he was like, man, I'm only going to eat half the bag today. There's no reason to get a whole bag of Chex Mix. Why you be acting like that with you make a lot of money?
No.
How much money you make? It's public information. I can just go look it up.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
How much money you make?
Man, I don't know.
I can look it up.
I don't know. I'm fiscally responsible. Let's put it that way. I'm just fiscally responsible. Yeah. They say there's a price that you can put on happiness that you have to make. I don't know if I believe that.
You make $131,000 with an average salary, estimated 2024, with an average salary of $82,000 per year. This includes estimated additional pay.
How much you make?
It's not about me.
Yeah.
$131,000 per year. Yes, this is what it said. This is what it said.
Get out my pockets.
Woo, woo.
What am I going to say? Get out my pockets?
Get you out of my pocket. That's all public information, guys. Not my stuff. My stuff's not public.
No, I mean, I always just want the next thing. Like I said, I'll get my master's degree. I'll get it here in a few months, March, and then we'll see what goes from there. And we'll see what goes, with moving around, getting promoted up, or who knows, hell, I may be right where I'm at next year. You never know. That's the thing about the military. They're like, gotcha.
Mm-hmm. You put in all this effort, be like, hey man, I just need you to do this for me now.
Yeah, I just need you to hold it down for us, just for another couple of years.
You're doing so good. You're doing so good. One of the things you can probably help me out with, because I always try to find ways to find some personal, what somebody else is doing, how I can associate that for myself. With someone who's almost as motivated and hard charged as I am, almost, how do you find time? Because you're also having travel distance. At least I don't have to leave Little Rock, but you're having to be away from family a long time. But yet you still come back and you're able to find time and doing stuff with family. Like, how are you able to do? Are you like putting this thing on your calendar? Hey, insert wife name. We're gonna be doing stuff every Thursday night. Like, what are you doing to be able to?
Yeah, we kind of have a set schedule on. What obviously my daughter's got piano and she's got track or running, so we know who's doing what when. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty much planned out. But when I come home, I try to shut stuff down as best I can when I'm home, be home, and then fire it back up late at night. If I've got to fire it back up and get in the office and knock a couple things out before I go to bed.
That's how I shot you that text at like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m.
It was 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And my phone went off. Woke me up.
Oh, wow. Did we talk about this before? Yeah. That's what your boy Day was saying. He was like, you woke me up.
Yeah, woke me
text.
up. But no, when I'm present, I try to be present. We do stuff every weekend. That if I'm not doing military stuff or work stuff, we're doing family stuff. We're together as much as we can. Like the last weekend, I mean, when skating, we put it on the calendar, plan it out as best we can. And with my school stuff, it's planned. I know what days I'm gonna be doing schoolwork, and that's the days I'm doing it. I don't care if it takes me 9 hours straight and I'm working into the night. I'm getting it done. So that I don't take time away from the family.
Are you putting that are you putting these pieces on your calendar to say, all right, I'm doing school stuff from 12 to 2, and then after 2:15, I do a little mini break in between, and then from 2:15 to
block scheduling. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you saw my calendar, you would be like, what the hell?
If you saw my calendar, you say, what the hell? Yeah. We both got great calendars.
I mean, it's not a competition, but mine probably has more.
I got more colors on mine. Mine's color coordinated.
Feed the cat. Adopt another dog.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's.
What do you mean?
I mean, it's some stuff.
Okay, it's a lot of stuff. I don't know if you got. There we go. It's a lot of stuff on here.
It's some stuff.
I don't do a.
Look like a lot of recurring events.
Looks like a bunch of, hey, be sure to pick up.
Yeah.
What's that sauce you used to get that you brag about, that adults brag about, that hot sauce?
Louisiana?
No. With the green
sriracha?
top. Yes.
Hey, sriracha
Doggos.
went in.
Should have went bankrupt. That crap is nasty.
Sriracha.
That stuff is crap.
It went extinct during the summer.
God bless. Anything else you'd like to add more so for individuals going newly into these leadership positions for the first time? Maybe they're being forced into it. I like to, joke on more. I don't know if you've been forced or not, but
yeah. I mean, like when you're going to, if you're a new leader, the main thing you have to do is you have to be confident and you have to be sure in your decisions. Okay, when you make a decision, make sure you stand behind it. An absence of a decision is worse than a bad decision. And I tell my people all the time, and don't get scapegoated into delegating something down to your people and then letting them come back to you and ask you, is it okay to do it this way? That's bullshit.
One more time.
So if you're a leader and you delegate a task and you say, hey, Thomas, I need you to get this, podcast space clean. Don't let them come back to you and go, hey, do I need to scrub the baseboards and do I need to put the equipment into this closet? No. Forget that. I told you to do a task. I need you to do the task. I don't need you to come to me to tell you how to do the task. Okay, give them clear and concise direction, sure, but you're not going to let them come to you and ask you how to do it, because when you do, you're taking their power away. You're taking their ownership away from the task. So if they do it right, they own none of it because it's how you told them to do it. If they do it wrong, they don't learn from their mistakes.
Ooh, so how are you able to empower them? Like, so do you? I'm not saying we've cleaned up the podcast room before, so now they should know, or it's like, hey, figure it out. You got it.
Yeah, figure it out.
I trust you.
Right, wrong, or indifferent, make a decision. Force them to make a decision. And as long as you give them, what you want at the end, the ultimate goal of this podcast room is I want it clean. Now, if they do it a way that you don't like, that's okay. As long as it's just done. And the ultimate goal, the value that you wanted out of it is you get out of it.
Okay, so role play that real quick. If you say, Thomas, I need to have a podcast, and I come back and say, you think I should dust out the lights? Like, how are you responding to this type of
I would say stop. Don't ask me how to do the task or what the deliverable is. I told you what I wanted, okay? I need you to execute that. Period.
Just do it.
Period. And you can sugarcoat it and go,
sure.
and you can sugarcoat it and go, hey, I respect you enough and have enough confidence in you to know that you're able to get this done without asking me the questions. I have faith that you can actually make this happen. You don't have to be as abrupt and be an asshole about it.
Yeah.
You can say it in a roundabout way and empower them. At the end of the day, it's all just about empowering them and giving them ownership. When you give somebody in your organization ownership over anything, it could be the smallest thing, they will work harder for you and they will do a better job. When you tell them how to do X, Y, Z and you want the cord wrapped up this way, they're going to like it. And then they're gonna, whatever. But if you tell them, hey, we need it cleaned up, I guarantee you those cords will be wrapped up. They'll probably have a nice little zip tie on them, and everything will be really nice and neat.
Man, that's just so conflicting because, in the military, we would have SOPs on how to do the thing, but you saying in these instances is where it's all right to, we're going to go on the outside of this here real quick. We're just going to see what you do, how you do it. If I need to make adjustments, then I adjust it.
Absolutely, but you have to be clear in the beginning of what value you want. I'm using the word value because a lot of times this is sales. I want you to get to this. As long as you give them what you want at the end product, you have to be concise and clear. As long as you're doing that and figure it out at that point for them. I'm telling you what I want out of it, and I need you to execute. I don't need to micromanage you. Micromanaging you is say, all right, I need the batteries right here in this spot. I need the batteries right here in this spot. I need this right there. Yada, yada. You could pay anybody to do that.
Yeah. So what about this? There's two particular brokerages, and I respect both of those guys dearly, but they definitely have a different way that they bring their agents in. One is a bit more how it was with us, or how it was with me as a recruiter. You're coming in, and I know it's slightly different as a realtor, but you have all the people there, and unless there's somebody saying, hey, you're going to go ride along with this person, it's almost kind of like you're figuring out, I'm going to give you the guideline. I'm going to give you the SOP. Here it is. If you need something, let me know. I hired you because I feel like you can do a good job. Let's rock and roll. In that instance alone, I feel like I'm going to go and hang out with the big dogs that's doing the stuff. I'm calling so and so on Instagram. Hey, bro, I saw how you end up doing that. How are you doing that? Whereas the other one has all this fancy training tools and all the good stuff. Like you can go and search how to do stuff, a huge catalog database and stuff. So I'm painting both of those perspectives from the instances. Both of those are right, or is there one in particular that you would rock with?
I would rock with the training. As a leader, I mean, we have to train, obviously, the individuals to do the task, okay? And like you said when we first started, you've already told this guy, where things go and how things are supposed to be. Now you just need them to execute it, give them what you want. So, the brokerages, for instance, they have to lay out what they want, the value, and they want to train, coach, counsel, mentor you how to get there. And then when that's done, you go out and execute. No excuses. You've been trained. If you fall short, make a bad decision, we'll retrain. So I would rock with the one that provides the training. Obviously, when I came to Arkansas, I didn't have like a lot of training. I didn't know a lot. I was kind of just thrust into it. I wouldn't want to do that to anybody because not everybody is going to just go out and be able to just grind it out and execute immediately. The value may be way further down the road. Whereas if you get the training on the forefront, you can get some value out of them pretty quickly.
Because it's clear.
And they're going to feel more supported. If you're not getting the training, if you're not seeing your leader, if they're not a servant leader or a transformational leader that's providing you a purpose and then you're not going to give everything you got to them.
Man, there was some other stuff I'm sure we can go deeper into. You were naming different types of leaderships.
Yeah.
What? All right, just give me the ones on the surface level. Like what were they? What are they called?
I mean, like a transformational leader will come into an organization and they promote creativity, cohesion, teamwork.
Who's an example of something like that?
Like
Steve Jobs?
Yeah, Steve Jobs would be a good transformational leader.
How you came in and changed up the whole damn office. You was like, no, screw this. We're
gonna focus on creativity. We're gonna create value, but we're gonna change up the way things are done. The one thing you can't get caught in is this is the way we always done things. The way you always did things may not create the most value for your organization. Servant leaders, they want to get down and dirty, and they want to get in there with their salesmen, and they want to make sure that they understand that, hey, I got your back, and I know what you're going through, and I'm willing to help, or a cooperating leadership style as far as that goes. More so, I'm a combination of both.
there's only two main ones?
No, I mean there's several several leadership styles.
Gotcha.
Those are the two that I gravitate towards myself.
Gotcha. And lastly, any books or anything that you recommend folks to check out that's going to these spaces? And as it could be Audible and all that.
I mean, there's different books. I have my phone over here.
You can go grab your phone. It's a podcast. You just take your headphones off. And while we're waiting, once you to bring out that this episode was brought to you by The Spot. When it comes time for you to make some content for yourself and your team and everybody else, make sure you consider The Spot. Feel free to book online, link in the bio, and all that other good stuff. Brought to you by Preparation H.
So Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street, he has a good podcast to listen to.
The actual wolf that...
Yeah, the one that got, arrested and sent to prison. The guy's amazing, I
did not know that was a real dude from that perspective.
Yeah, he's really good. So Chasing Excellence was a really good book. I read it's just about, staying motivated but really as far as sales go, I read the Atomic Habits book. It's like the #1 book on podcasts. Do not read that book. It is garbage. It is basically one of those books that tell you every common sense thing that you've ever heard your entire life. Work hard. Make sure that you get 8 hours. It's like you sold 1 billion of these to tell people things.
Which book is that?
It's called Atomic Habits. Go to Audible. It's like always #1 or #2 or #3. It's ridiculous. So don't waste your time with that book, in my opinion.
And you've had a long time to be able to go read in all these books.
Oh, for sure. New Sales Simplified by Mike Weinberg was really good. It's a good sales book. There are a lot of good sales techniques in that book, and I'm sure a lot of realtors have read that book. That is it's like a staple in sales. And like I said, the Way of the Wolf is the one by Jordan Belfort. He has a selling method. It's called the straight line method. And I'll leave you with this, and it's something I really believe in because it's something I preach to all of my recruiters. He says that, if you're going to make a purchase, any purchase in life that's substantive, something that costs money.
A car.
You live by the 3 10s. Do you believe in the product that you're buying, the company that stands behind the product, and the salesman. On a scale of 1 to 10, if you're not at a 10 on all three of those, you're going to walk away. And I thought about that. I was like, I recently bought a Toyota. I wanted a Lexus. I'm cheap, so got the Toyota, got the Camry, got the hybrid.
They're the same.
And I thought about it. I was like, I bought the Toyota because it's a trusted brand. I brought the Camry because I wanted the hybrid and I wanted the miles per gallon, and my salesman was amazing. So I was like, and I was at a 10. I was like, had the salesman been a jerk, because I was at Lexus at one point and I walked away. The salesman was really bad. I was like, if the salesman's bad and they don't trust you, they're going to walk away. If they don't believe in the product and the company, because you can have a good product, but then the company doesn't have a good warranty, or they have terrible customer service. Like, I'm sure plenty of people have looked on Amazon and looked at products, and then people are like, oh no, customer service is bad, don't buy this product. So, it's kind of the rule of tens. And I think that's really, in recruiting, I say, hey, if they don't believe in the National Guard and what they have to offer, and trust us as an organization, if they don't trust the recruiter and they don't trust the benefits that you're offering them, they're not going to join, period. And so I've told recruiters, I said, at the end of the day, ask them that question, circle back and say, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at on these three things? And figure out which one it is. And maybe you can shore it up, or maybe it's something that you can't fix. And if it's something you can't fix, let's move on to the next.
Because they're going to tell you, like, I'm at a 6. Now you can actually.
Yeah, now you can actually say, all right, I'm at a 6. And you say, okay, well, let's dig into why you're at a 6. And if they don't trust you, well, then
you're a piece of shit now.
And maybe you can bring in, your supervisor for additional credibility. Maybe that person can come in and build some more rapport, because it's probably something you didn't do in the beginning stages of any sale, and that's building rapport. And if you're bad at that,
That's
you
on the
probably
leadership.
don't need to be selling.
Could that be on the leadership to not to train them on that?
On rapport building?
Yeah.
I'm sure they,
Are you trying to shift blame?
I'm trying to shift blame.
Okay.
It's like, some people are terrible at building rapport. Okay. Oh, you see that big fish? Yeah. Like, where'd you catch that? Come on, man. I see you got Air Force Ones on, huh? You sell
black
drugs?
ones.
How's the meth?
Could help but notice your I was gonna do the jug one in the
you got some jail tags, huh, Thomas?
Was this called the thing where you the veins poked?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You screw up my joke. Yeah, but what is that called?
Heroin?
Okay. What do they call it in Alabama? How about that? Like when people shoot up and they have the area right here that's clearly that they shoot up. People would say,
we got meth mouth. I don't know, that's a thing. I read this morning there's a thing called Ozempic face. It's like,
what is meth mouth? First off,
it's when they're like their cheeks are like their cheeks are sucked in and they're missing teeth.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
very similar to Ozempic face.
I feel like, is this a medicine you're sponsoring or something? You keep bringing this up. What is Ozempic?
Ozempic's what all these people are taking now. Have you looked on Facebook? And then last month somebody was fat. Now this month they're skinny.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
about the tummy tea.
No,
that's what you're referring
it's
to.
Not tummy tea. It's a shot that a lot of people are taking.
It's like a lipo shot.
Yeah. It was originally it was like for people with diabetes, but they figured out you could lose a lot of weight with it. It restricts something in your appetite, makes you not hungry, and so people aren't eating.
That's just like the daggum. Like when I first started taking Adderall, it was was something suppressant.
Who was selling it to? What was his name?
Who? What doctor's office your wife at? Like it was a hunger suppressant.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much what it does. But it works.
You have to almost like remember to eat.
Well, this is a shot, and so that's kind of the way this is, and I mean, people are losing a lot of weight, and I mean, more power to them. I don't care if you got the money; it's expensive, but more power to you. I really don't care. I think you'll get fat when you stop taking it.
Speaking of losing weight, you used to be fat when I got here in 2015. Yeah, you were like you were huge.
I don't know about that.
It's one of those things you can kind of go back and say because now you're past that. You're beyond that. That's not who you are anymore.
Yeah.
But you used to be. Have you ever seen Nutty Professor?
Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah, it was all right.
Great movie. Great actors. Great one guy in all of those scenes. And then you decided to go lose some weight. Did somebody say, like, hey, Russ, you're getting kind of chunky?
I know. I took my DA photo and I was like, oh.
That's the photo
I was like, I got fat, huh? Yeah, you don't see it happening to yourself. That's what's crazy. Nobody will tell you.
Dude,
Nobody would tell you.
I look back at my old TikToks that I was doing when I had to go back to the street, and I was like, okay, nobody said a daggum thing to me, and I'm gonna show you this. And you know what my wife said to me? You look fine to me, babe.
Yeah.
You look fine to me.
They have to say that for better or worse.
Oh, because you're bought in now. This is
for sure.
You've been what's the word? You've been understand. You've been what's it called when you stay in a position for so long? You have tenure, but there was another word I was looking
I
for.
don't know. She's got half my retirement regardless. So.
After 10 years.
Yeah.
There's no going back. But anyway, you can go on the TikTok and see all that stuff.
Yeah,
but
you were fat.
okay, listen.
I feel like I told you.
No, I don't think you did. And here's the thing: as long as we've been around each other, you would hope that somebody that you would work with every day would say,
Yeah, for sure.
"Hey, Tom, you're getting fat,"
Yeah.
and you didn't do that. Like, look at that. I look like a pastor here.
Oh wow.
Dude, look at that.
It looks like you used a filter. like.
God, look at that. Nobody said to me, "Hey, Thomas."
I feel like somebody had to. Is that not a filter? It looks like you have on one of those Halloween latex masks. Like,
Just so you can kind of see. I don't know if that'll kind of make a thing, but I was like, God bless. I feel like, dude, look, nothing. You know what? I can go about that all day. Guys, so thank you for being here today. This was super informative, especially from a perspective that was finding out why you tick the way you tick. This was really good.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you gave enough good value today for somebody?
I mean,
Do you feel like you beat Rogers? That's ultimately what we're trying to do. Do you feel like you did better than him?
I mean, typically.
Because Rogers, he said, "Hey, man, you bringing that guy on, he don't know nothing about hoopla." And I said, "What's hoopla?" And he's like, "I'll show you." So you feel like you did better than him?
Yeah, for sure. I typically do better than Rogers, so.
Just anyway.
So it's but much respect to him. He's got a lot of good insight. Not as good, but
for sure. But he has sight.
decent.
He has sight. Not all of it is even in.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know, and that's just a testament to who he is and what his leadership was. Guys, this was another episode of Stealing from Friends, where we bring on dope folks to do dope stuff. But not only that, we steal from them, because who better to steal from somebody? Like, if you have to pick to steal from somebody, why not be your friends? I feel like in Alabama, that's what they would do.
Yeah, for sure. And be sure to tune into my podcast, Haters Gonna Hate. It's going to be airing soon. And I may bring you on.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
If y'all got any more questions, make sure you let us know. Any information about the books and all the good stuff he reads is going to be down link in the bio. You should get you some affiliate links.
Yeah, for
anytime
sure.
you end up bringing somebody on there. And then don't forget to like, subscribe, all the stuff that people do. And I think this is actually the final episode for season 1. So actually we can start posting stuff. So that's a wrap. Thank you for season 1. We'll see you guys back in season 2. Yep. I had to save the best for last.
Cool.
So I'm gonna make Rogers last.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.